So probability distribution, so we have a guided practice question. So the random variable x represents the sum of the values of two spins of the wheel. So we're asked to A, construct a relative frequency table, and then B, graph the theoretical probability distribution. So we want to look at how many options, or we're going to create a sample space so we can see the outcomes if we were to spin and add or find the sum. So I'm going to do a sample space. So a sample space diagram, and we're going to write down all the possibilities. So we've got, on our spinner, we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. So that's from spinner number 1. And then from spinner number 2, we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. So if we were to draw these here, so this is our possible outcomes. So these are our sum. So we're going to be adding our spinners and our scores. So 1 and 1 is 2. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. So if we keep adding, so we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 12. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, and 13. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 14. So adding again, we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 15. 6 and 1, so we have 7, 8, 9, 6 and 4 is 10, 11, 12, 14, and 16. So we can see there's a pattern here. So 8 and 1, so we've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18. And then 10 and 1, so we have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, and 20. So these are all our possible outcomes. So first of all, for our sample space, we're going to have the values 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, and 20. So we're going to need to create a table for all of these, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 options there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 by 8. So it's going to be out of 64. So how many 2s? So let's think about creating our frequency table. So our sum of our values. So I'm just going to move this over. Let's just move this over a bit. So our sum of our values, so we've got 2. So scoring 2, there's just one of them. To score 3, there is 2 of them. So this here is our frequency. So to score 4, we have 1, 2, 3. Score 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. To score 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To score 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to move this across again. Okay, to score 8. So possibility of scoring 8, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then to score 9, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To score 10. So to score 10, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there is a pattern here. So to score 11, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our next number, so we've got 12, 13, 14, 15. So we have 12. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 12s. And then 13, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 13s. So 14, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 14. So 15 and 16 and 18 and 20. So we need to move this a little bit more. So let's move it up. Let's move it up here. Okay, so 15. So we've got, so 1, 2 15s. So 16, there's 1, 2, 3. 18, 1, 2. And 20 is 1. This here, so what we need now in this column is to write our, so it's going to be relative frequency, we're going to call this. So relative frequency. And this is out of 64. So 1 out of 64. We have 2 out of 64. 3 out of 64. 4 out of 64. 5 out of 64. 6 out of 64. 5 out of 64. 6 out of 64. 5 out of 64. 6 out of 64. 5 out of 64. 4 out of 64. 4 out of 64. 2 out of 64. 3 out of 64. 2 out of 64 and 1 out of 64. Okay, so this is our part A. So we have constructed our relative frequency table. And part B, we're asked to graph the theoretical distribution. So what we can do now is put this data into Excel with our sum. So let's have a look. Okay, so I've created my table. So I've got my sum, my frequency, my relative frequency. So my frequency that I've just calculated from my sample space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. So 9 is 6, 5. 11, 6, 5. And then we've got 12. 13 is 4. 14 is 4, 2, 3, 2, and 1. So if we add up this total, we can use equals sum, open bracket, and we can highlight our data, close the bracket. So we've got a total of 64. So our relative frequency is going to be out of 64. So it's going to be this number here. So we can use the formula. So equals this column divided by this column here. Now we want this to be a fixed value. So we can use the dollar sign. So shift and 4. So this is going to give us a fixed value. So it'll be divided by 64. But the B2, we want it to change to C2, etc. So now I can copy this column. So if I copy and I drag this across, this is going to give me all my data values. Now, if I was to add this column, so equals sum of my data, so this is going to add up to 1 because probability is between 0 and 1. Now I need to create my chart. So to create my chart, I need to highlight this data here. So I want the frequency and the relative frequency. So highlight, insert, and I'm going to go to my chart. So this is my chart, so I can just change it a little bit. So I'm going to click on my chart, right click and select my data. So the data I'm using, so I'm going to click edit. The axis range for my data, this is going to be my sum. So I'm going to highlight my top column. So I've got 2 up to 20, so press OK. And I press OK. So this is now changed on my horizontal, my X, 2, 3 up to 20. Now I'm going to right click on my plus arrow. I don't want my legend. My chart title, my axes. So I want an axes title. So I'm going to change this axes title to be, this is X, this is my capital X. So this is my random variables. So this is my values. So let's just make that a bit bigger. And then on the side, this is our relative frequency. So we can type in relative frequency. Or we could type in our probability. So this is a P bracket capital X equals small x. Okay, where all this is our data. So we can use either, and this is where the relative frequency will be our P capital X equals small x. Right, the other thing we can do is on our chart, so right click, so we can change our style. So we can make this a bit bigger. And then we'll see what we need and what we don't need. So let's edit. Okay, so let's click back on our data. and we'll have a look at our series. So series 2, we don't need series 2. So right click, so if you click on our data, and let us select the data, it brings up this table here. So series 2, we unclick this, okay, so then this will disappear. So we have our frequency table. So now we just need a title here. So the question, so this was the sum of the two spins. And there we have our probability distribution graph. So the next thing we need to do now is change this data on this axis here. Okay, here we go. Right, we click on here, right click, select data. And then for this here, we're going to go to the data we want to show. So this is our relative frequency. So if we highlight all our column across to 20 and say OK, then this is going to change our frequency here. So this is 0.1, and I just got to rechange this data here. So select this data again and edit here. I said this was the sum, so we need the top and OK. Right, so we need to make sure that these are correct. So there we go.